Hello.
Is this thing on?
I don't know, is it?
Can you hear
Yeah.
Stephanie?
Woo woo!
Awesome. Well, thank you all for coming. This is Salesforce Dueling Marketing Automation Tools. I'm Chris Zullo. I'm Salesforce MVP. I work for Relation Edge, consulting partner based stateside, and I am a marketing cloud maniac.
I'm Stephanie Foerst, also a Salesforce MVP. I work for Green Sky. We're a financial services company in the US, and I am the Pardot pundit here.
Awesome. So without further ado, we're going to take you guys through a little history here. So with marketing, it's a journey, not a destination. And some of you may be familiar with some of the names on this screen here before Marketing Cloud and after Marketing Cloud. On the top, we'll just quickly run through. The campaign object, once upon a time, was marketing in Salesforce. If you've used that object, it doesn't do much besides store information. And then there've been a lot of acquisitions over the years, Buddy Media, ExactTarget, Crux, Pardot, a lot of social components that have all, for the most part, been rebranded. Just FYI, in the slides that will be shared after London's Calling has concluded, there are hyperlinks to all of the various products on the right-hand side. So anyone who's interested in learning more, you can click into those. But campaign's still the same. Buddy Media, the better parts of Buddy Media and Radian 6 have morphed into Social Studio. ExactTarget, its core components, email, mobile, and web. Crux DMP, which is data management. And then you got big data, 75% of the world's traffic channels through DMP. Pardot, it is a part of the family, despite some people's perception. It is a part of the Marketing Cloud.
To be fair, it was sold under Sales Cloud for a while, but now it is being sold by Marketing Cloud people.
True, but who bought who?
Oh, hey, Salesforce bought ExactTarget because of Pardot.
After we bought you. And then Advertising Studio, which is a really cool and very simple to use tool to kind of manage advertising networks through the Marketing Cloud.
Yeah. So we thought in order to help best demonstrate some of the differences and similarities between the two products, we would have a duel. Yeah. Unfortunately, our swords did not make it through customs. I don't know why they didn't like that. So we are going to walk through and build out an email together in Pardot and in Marketing Cloud so we can highlight some of the differences. We'll also review landing page, and then at the end, we will go through and highlight more differences between the two.
And some similarities and debunk some myths.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see.
And we will go with the chivalrous act of ladies first.
All right. So as I said, we're going to build out an email. So I'm in Pardot here at the top. Let me zoom in on my browser so you can see this better. So going to build out an email template. Email templates are what you will start off with to build list emails or one-to-one emails that sent through Pardot or Salesforce with Salesforce Engage. And I totally went to the wrong place. I zoomed in too much and I can't get my menu options.
All right, while Stephanie's filling out some of the information to start her template, I'm going to start mine in the Marketing Cloud. And I'm in the Content Builder, which is kind of the main area for managing and developing your content in the Marketing Cloud. And I'm going to click on this Create button, and I'm going to start with a template. You do have the option to go paste HTML, but we're going to keep everything with clicks, not code, for today's demonstration. So I'm going to create from a template. And I'll have several options here. There's saved versions that we've done before, various theme templates with some color schemes can help kind of get you started. You're welcome to update them. And then there's also empty and then basic ones, which are similar to theme, but without quite the level of color coding and sort of preset design.
Whoa, there. You jumped straight to choosing the template you're going to build it off of.
Well, I got to create a name.
Well, yeah, we're gonna choose a folder for it to go in, so you can categorize it. You can find your assets easily. I have it sorted by campaign, so everything for London's Calling. Campaign in Pardot is totally different than your Salesforce campaigns. It's your first touch attribution. You don't normally change campaigns in Pardot, unlike Salesforce, where you can be the member of 20,000 campaigns. Probably you shouldn't be that many, but. And then we'll choose, as I said, we'll choose where the email will be available. And then after that, we'll go through and choose a layout. Pardot provides a number of layouts as well. Some of them are actually, they bought from MailChimp, so they're built out pretty well. And we have some responsive ones in here that are available.
Some. Note some. Mine are all mobile optimized to begin with, so just saying.
Okay. Well, I'm going to choose my template. It's going to be responsive.
Well, so is mine, and I'm just going to go with basic.
Oh, that's mine too.
There you go.
Yep. So Pardot will give you your template. You can see that these are repeatable or removable, so you can easily click to add in more sections. We're going to start off with putting in our hero image. Both Chris and I help run Southeast Streamin' in Atlanta. So I'm actually going to build out a little email for Southeast Streamin', and I'm going to upload a file from my computer. Let's see. Here we go. We're going to upload it, and we're going to drop it right in. Oh, yeah, delete. There we go.
All right.
That was super easy.
That was super easy. So I am also going to drop in an image. Just drag and drop, and then I'm going to upload from my desktop as well.
Come on.
Please. The hamsters haven't been fed breakfast this morning, so.
Everybody get off the Wi-Fi, please. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, so here's my image. Click open.
Yeah, and then, so we got our header, hero images, both of us. Pardot, next up, it has a section for you to put in some verbiage. So over here on the right-hand column, woo, screws are dropping.
Got a screw loose.
Apparently. We'll just go in and you can change it pretty easily. It's a Wysiwyg editor, so we can say we're going to make this blue pretty easily. Yeah, and so putting verbiage in is easy as that.
Well, aren't you fancy?
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to actually grab some additional components here that you can reuse. I have my main body, and I can pull it from my library and just drop it in, which I can also update if needed. And I am going to play to the crowd and use London's Calling as my example. So just saying, know your audience.
Oh, come on. Yeah, so here we go. Next, we'll drop in another image. This time, this one's already uploaded. So I'm going to pull it in from here. Let's see, we'll go Trailblazer community. Yeah, peaches, because Georgia's the peach state. So we're going to add that in there. I always do that improperly, but so you can upload images ahead of time. You can reuse images throughout all of your marketing assets pretty easily.
All right, so I am also going to drop in a nice little link. So these are live links that go directly to a website. The landing pages are, it's all London's Calling, and these are all trackable links. And I'm just going to drop that above my hero image. As you can see, it's pretty easy here. And all these are just type it in, and you can update by clicking on the word, highlighting it, clicking on the hyperlink icon. All clicks. You can give it a title and just add some basic information. Click OK, and it's in.
Yeah, and I mean, our builders are pretty similar. The Wysiwygs, I'm going to throw in a variable tag pretty easily. Choose it. I'm just going to throw in the first name. And there, boom, built out an email. Oh, yeah.
Well, aren't we fancy?
We are fancy.
So I'm going to drop 2 more things in here. Just going to drop that below there. The little Trailblazer community. Again, this is hyperlinked. Click done. And then I'm going to give Pardot some credit here. They suggest that when you put your call to action in an email, it should be rounded and generally a bright color like a red. I'm going to use the London's Calling orange here, but that is sort of a, don't press here type of concept where kids like, hey, don't touch that. That's basically what the big red button is for, and generally people want to go right to it. So just a little FYI from our friends at Pardot.
Yeah. This was all done Wysiwyg style. Both of them you can switch over. If you know HTML, you can go in and switch into it to make any tweaks if you want, but it's not needed. You can hide that and not pay any attention to it most of the time.
Yeah, so I just click the button and I can go straight in and edit the HTML. Also have a desktop and mobile preview, so I can automatically shrink it down. You can see the images automatically adjust, see how it would respond. You can see that my header at the top basically wraps a little bit because there's a number of menu items, so rather than it being cut off and having to scroll, it will just, push the last items down to the next line automatically for you.
Yeah, Pardot has testing available too. It's through Litmus, so you can render the test and it will actually give you, it takes a while, so we won't be able to see the results, but it will show you what it looks like in Outlook 2010, in Gmail, on different mobile devices. I will give you screenshots of all that so you can see what it looks like and you can go in and make changes to make sure your email looks best, and no matter where people are looking at it.
And one thing to kind of point out here, at least in Marketing Cloud, I won't speak for Pardot, but the Marketing Cloud, when you start with a template, that is just your framework. That's not a sendable component. You're creating the template, which you could then leverage in other emails downstream. Yeah. So you're just kind of creating your foundation that you can then create many emails from.
Yeah, Pardot's similar.
And now my template is ready to go.
All right. Well, so is mine.
Well, isn't that fancy? It's almost like we planned that.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. You can send a test list. Of course, you can send it to yourself after you finish your rendering. In Pardot, you have to choose your sender, and you'll go through. You can choose, hey, it just comes from info@Southeast Streamin'. You can say, hey, it needs to come from Stephanie at Southeast Streamin' said. It can come from their Salesforce account owner. Or it can come from the prospect's assigned user, which is their contact or lead owner in Salesforce if you have the two connected. Otherwise, if that prospect's not syncing over to Salesforce, it's just the owner in Pardot.
Yeah, Marketing Cloud works very similarly. And so, like I said, the template is not sendable, so I'm just going to create my email and just reference the template that I created. So I just go to my Save tab as I create that email. Grab that template, give it a name. Typing with one hand is a little bit more difficult than it may seem. Good to go there. Click next. And I don't know anybody's sort of noticing, Stephanie alluded earlier that she, picked her folder as she was, as the first starting point. I did too, but I didn't have to kind of go through the same steps. As you saw, I have the tree on the side. We'll see that screen again in a second, but I just went to the folder I wanted to build in, so I didn't have to really kind of go through any choosing process. And so within Marketing Cloud, you must have a subject line. You cannot save or send an email without a subject line.
Yep.
As you can see, it's yelling at us. I believe Pardot does the same.
Yeah, we have a little orange asterisk telling you. And you can throw variables into your subjects in Pardot. You can also use dynamic content, so you can set up and say, hey, if this field on their prospect contact lead record is A, then send them this content. If it's B, send them this content. So if their country is the US, let's put in Southeast Dreamin'. If their country is the UK, then put in London's Calling.
Yeah, we have dynamic content as well within Marketing Cloud. So similarly, it's criteria based. Depending on the values that you have captured previously, you can then dictate which type of content or which messages you want to share with that individual.
Can you use count fields in your dynamic as criteria for your dynamic content?
Maybe.
Pardot you can't. It has to be contact or lead-based criteria.
Yeah, so basically any fields that live and persist in Marketing Cloud in some form or fashion, if you can get it to Marketing Cloud, you can use that criteria or you can use that attribute to make a decision on that. So my guess is the maybes probably, again, it really, the data needs to live in Marketing Cloud.
Yeah. Well, emails are done.
The emails are done.
So next we'll look at landing pages. So Pardot, you can hit the H key and it's going to bring up your recent history, so I can just easily go to the landing page that I already have built out.
Okay. I'm going to save and exit out of my email, and it's going to drop me back into Content Builder, and that tree that I mentioned earlier is completely customizable, where I can create, I can delete, rename, and move folders. And so when we started, I was already in the folder I wanted to be in.
So building out a landing page, you start off the same as an email. One of the things that you will do differently is you will select a form, because your landing pages are to get information from people. So here we just use a standard form. We're going to click name, company, email address. They all suggest put as few fields on a form as possible and gradually collect more information. Pardot allows you to say, okay, hey, I already got their company, so now let me display another field and collect it the next time they come back to download another white paper or whatever gated content you have.
And I'm going to go to a different module called Web Studio, Cloud Pages, to get to my landing page access.
So many clicks.
So many clicks, but remember, Marketing Cloud is a platform similar to Salesforce. So Pardot is an excellent tool for very specific needs. Marketing Cloud is a much deeper and broader platform that accommodates a lot of different types of channels. So if you think of the most common buzzword is omni-channel,
Yeah.
because of the web and the social and everything else that you can do.
Not Service Cloud omni-channel, though. That's a different thing.
Well, there's a lot of different things that Salesforce does, but Marketing Cloud does work with Service Cloud. Does
Yeah.
Pardot?
You can buy custom objects and have it sync with cases.
So I have to buy something else.
You do.
Okay, just checking. And so I'm in my main page here, and I'm just going to click Edit Content to double check, make sure that I have the correct landing page that I want to share and drive people to draw registrations in and give them information that they're looking for.
Pardot provides you a bunch of layouts that you can build your landing page with. So again, you don't need to know HTML to build landing pages for your company. There's a couple stock templates. I would have to say there's not a lot available in Pardot, but I've chosen one. And after you pick your template, then it's similar to the email Wysiwyg Editor. You can go in, it's a different one, but you can go in and put in whatever verbiage you need, drop in whatever images you want. It's previewing the form that I selected earlier.
Well, that's very nice. I'm just going to create a new one real quick, give it a name, and going to choose Content Builder so I can grab the latest and greatest content. And I do have some layout options. These are all mobile optimized, similar to the email components. As you can see, there's a few different presets here. I'm just going to keep it simple and use the blank one because that gives me the most flexibility.
It's blank. You're going to have to know HTML to build out your different columns.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, there's more?
Yeah. Similar to the email, I can either drag the different components in and, again, just key it in. I don't need to know HTML. You can use it, and for certain cases, you need to get more fancy. You may need to use HTML and other coding languages to get to what you need to give the right experience to the end user. But I'm going to just grab some components here and just drag it over. And now I have my header in my landing page.
I already have mine. Southeast Streaming.
Mm-hmm. And oops.
What are you doing?
My internets are not working. I clicked that about 15 seconds ago. Oops, go back.
While Chris is struggling with Marketing Cloud.
That was not a Marketing Cloud issue.
Yeah, so I've already put in some content in here, and you can actually go and look at the landing page live. We are collecting registration for Southeast Streaming on this page. Don't fill us out and expect to get registered. But yeah, so I mean, I built a really simple landing page because I didn't want to go crazy, but you can. Again, you can start off with nothing and build it from scratch, or you can drop in a video. You can add more tables easily without doing any code.
Yeah, and as you can see, I have lots of different contents here. I can do straight HTML, can put different buttons in, social media sharing components. And then when I'm done, again, similar to the email, I can look at the code view as well. If I need to tweak something because it's not quite giving me the look and feel that I want for some reason with the point and click, I can look at the code and then still can do the preview of the email, of the content within the browser here, and then click save.
All right. Yeah, but do you have a quote from Astro on your landing page?
Astro was unavailable when I started building this. Astro's still in bed right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm done.
Can you save and publish?
Oh, yeah. I confirmed the save. It's live.
But can you save it for later and make it publish at a specific time?
No. Why would you want to do that?
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe your registration's not ready to open, and you want to have it open at a specific time. Sort of like that whole Dreamforce agenda builder, when you are waiting for that to happen for months and months and months. It was built now.
Oh. Well, you can just hide it from search engines.
We can do that too.
Okay. Somebody thought that was funny. So I've saved my landing page. What it will show you down here, once you have prospects start going to the landing page and filling out the form, they will display right here for easy reporting. It will also provide you quick links. So like, the standard form, I want to go in and make a tweak to that. And everywhere it's used, you can go in and change that out easily. Or you can go in and say, hey, what happens when people do send this form? Because with Pardot, you have completion action, so you can send them an email, update their score, update a field on their account.
Yeah, we can do that too, but that's in the analytics builder. So I need to go somewhere else. Well, it takes a village to raise a campaign.
Apparently. I don't think so. All you need is one person.
On one person.
I used to do it half the time. That was half my job. I didn't need a full-time job.
Yeah, and can you do mobile?
No.
Okay. Oh, wait. Do you have an app?
Why do you need an app?
I don't know. Maybe you're managing something on the go and you need to quickly check something and you can't just pull out your, Boeing 767 of a laptop to do some marketing?
Well, okay. I guess.
You guess?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, well, so that ends our demo portion. We're going to go back to our presentation here. So we're going to cover a little bit of some do's and don'ts, Pardots and Pardons. So big thing, don't say Pardot, So I don't know if it's common here, but in America, people want to be like, hey, I'm smart. This is French. It's Pardot. It's not. It's Pardot. It's Latvian. It means sales marketing. Back when they founded Pardot, Adam and David Cummings, they're like, oh, we need to come up with a name. And we got to get the domain. And they just started Googling, and that's how they ended up with Pardot. So it describes what the product does. Nobody had the domain, and everybody mispronounces it. But do's with Pardot, keep your database clean. It's now built out. Email used to be a unique identifier, but we all know keep your database clean in Salesforce is really important. But now if you have multiple contacts with the same email address, in Pardot, that's going to grow your database size because Pardot, you purchase a database size of people. You may never send an email to them, but if they're in your database, you have to pay for them. When you're setting up Pardot, take time to think through your folder structure. It's going to help you out later on. Set up an email preference center. I think that is just something you should do for any marketing tool that you use. Spam laws, explicit opt-ins. Formula fields don't work very well for syncing to Salesforce to any marketing product because, when you look, it doesn't calculate the formula until you're looking at it. So whenever a formula changes, the value changes, it doesn't force a sync to the other product.
I think we can push that across.
I mean, if you have other values, other fields change, it will sync down to Pardot, the newest formula value. But
yeah, exactly. It really comes down to when you need the data to come across and what your synchronization settings are.
Yeah. And then setting up Pardot, don't feel like you have to start off with everything set up right away. That's just not going to work. You start small. Always.
Crawl, walk, run, and that is a huge, huge time saver.
Pardot. Some marketing cloud omni-channel engagement best practices.
Yes, I'm just going to echo. I'm going to echo what Stephanie said. I mean, at the end of the day, they're both marketing tools, Pardot and Marketing Cloud. So there's going to be a lot of similarities in the sense of, understanding what your unique identifier is. Marketing Cloud has always been a very flexible component to this. There are a lot of tools that hard code or force you to only have email as your subscriber key or as your unique identifier within that marketing tool. Marketing Cloud does not force that, but it does require that you do give it some thought because you want something that's stable, reliable, not going to go away on a whim because the implications of changing that downstream are massive.
Yeah.
Loss of time and a cost most likely to sort of re-engineer that and loss of data when you kind of break those established links. Explicit opt-ins, that's kind of across the board. Pardot and Marketing Cloud generally have more are more strict about their requirements in terms of compliance than most countries' laws. In the US, there's a canned spam. I know there's a big update coming here as far as data privacy. And so making sure that you have that hard opt-in. You cannot just say, oh, well, I have permission from my mother's uncle's cousin's brother to send them an email or send them a communication. You must have that up front, and you have a little opt-in that you're certifying you have that explicit permission because if something comes back, it's not going to be on Marketing Cloud, it's not going to be on Pardot, it's going to be on you. It's your responsibility to make sure that you have the permission to contact and communicate with these people. You know, leveraging templates, IP warm-up, you know, with Marketing Cloud, it's not charged on the number of the size of your database per se. It's really on the volume of sends that you're going to do annually. So you're kind of purchasing a big bucket. And so the number of contacts aren't as big of a concern as it is rather how often and how much you're actually sending out through the Marketing Cloud. And then, you know, just making sure if you are going to use the various tools, the various, you know, channels, just make sure you differentiate your content so it's not the same thing on every single channel, because that doesn't really add any value, doesn't, you know, adapt to the experience, because social and mobile and email and all the other components, they're all different, and they sort of target different segments, if you will. And so, and again, test, evaluate, revise. I mean, the not so much pieces is really just kind of the opposite of that, and just making sure, you know, copy and paste, well, this is how it's always done, all of that. I mean, not gonna read the whole slide, but it's, you know, just making sure you are always on top of evolving and adapting, because like I said at the beginning, it's a journey, it's not a destination. Marketing automation allows you to automate, to be efficient, but it's not a strict set it and forget it tool. Neither one of these tools are for that. If you're successful, it's more out of coincidence and perhaps the most static, possibly dead audience you could target. So more sheer luck.
Oh.
So you want to sort of keep it, you know, pay attention to evolving trends.
Yeah, so there, hopefully people know what we're playing. So to highlight some more of the differences, with CRM product, Pardot, it's Salesforce or none. Before the Salesforce purchase of ExactTarget, Pardot did have connectors for other CRMs. They no longer offer that at all. Some people are still grandfathered in, I believe, but now you use Salesforce or you don't use CRM at all. And I actually have people in my Pardot user group back in Atlanta who don't have a CRM, and they have their salespeople in Pardot, and they use it as a mini CRM, and it works really well for them.
Yeah, Marketing Cloud is a little bit broader. It does have, you know, obviously the Salesforce connector. It does have, you know, a Microsoft Dynamics connector, but it also has open APIs. So you technically could plug it into any CRM, and I know of some people that do use Marketing Cloud as its de facto or CRM, but in the case of Pardot and Marketing Cloud, generally I would recommend against that, just because while you can put data there, doesn't mean it's not an efficient use of the tool or the application. Just because it can doesn't mean you should.
Right. Yeah. Data sync between Pardot and Salesforce is every 10 minutes, at least every 10 minutes. It can be faster than that. So if you update a value in Salesforce, you can actually see that updated in Pardot a few minutes later. And you can also submit a request and have your entire database resynced at any time.
Marketing Cloud is very similar. You can keep polling down to about 15 minutes. Now, there are a couple of ways you can get your data across. There's sort of the, you know, sort of in real time, at send time, you can push your data through specifically for that send. But you also have Automation Studio, which can pull from a report, can pull from a campaign, and automatically pull that across. And you have synchronized data sources, which is sort of a little bit more advanced, pulls things automatically on a scheduled process. But it does get a little bit more advanced where you will need to use some SQL. So that's when it starts to get a little more complicated than what Pardot has.
Yeah. Salesforce objects, we alluded to that earlier. That Pardot syncs leads, contacts, which all sync into prospects in Pardot, accounts, and limited opportunity. Like, you can't add custom opportunity fields or anything. You can buy an add-on for Pardot that will allow you to sync additional Salesforce objects into Pardot, but that does add to your cost.
And Marketing Cloud, all standard and custom objects are there. You just need to decide what you need to pull.
And then connecting with orgs, Pardot, you can only connect with one Salesforce org at a time. You can't like have one connected to a Salesforce sandbox or anything like that and move stuff over. You can, while you're setting up and testing Pardot, have it point to a sandbox, and then you make the switch and you're pointing to your production org permanently.
And Marketing Cloud has a concept of a sandbox. It is an extra cost, and in general, I personally wouldn't recommend it just because there is no org management component to it. You can't just pull and push things around like a chain set in the core side. That concept doesn't exist. Perhaps you have somebody who's comfortable and familiar with like GitHub or stuff like that. You could do something on your own, but there's nothing out of the box that's going to allow you to automatically move things from one org to the other. So unless you have the infrastructure to support something like that, just get one org and just be mindful of what you're doing in your org, knowing what's sort of prime time, ready for a live send versus what's being tested and improved out.
Yeah, and if you're a Pardot customer, you can actually get a Pardot training org, but that's actually what I was using to demo with. You can't send emails from it. It's really just for you to set up and kind of get familiar with it. But you do have to be a Pardot customer to actually get that. And again, you can't move emails through change set or anything. All right.
All right, we're going to move to the next slide. We have a couple more slides, and we're going to wrap up here.
So marketing automation-wise, Pardot has an engagement studio. It's relatively new in Pardot history, and it's getting added to and updated all the time now. Your actions are limited to email, task creation, Salesforce campaigns, prospect updates.
And Journey Builder has been around for a little while. They've, it kind of got off to a slow start, but it's now a really, really nice tool. Templates came out in the latest release, so again, trying to simplify it, make it as easy as possible for you. Maybe not quite as simple as Pardot is out of the box, but it is making it more, just easier to adopt every release.
Yeah, and templates for Engagement Studio are on the roadmap for Pardot, so you can see what other people are doing, and you can kind of copy that. Pricing we've alluded to earlier, so Pardot, you're going to be paying on your database size. You can cut out your database by throwing people in the recycle bin. They live there forever, and you can pull them back out when you need them. So it's a kind of way to get around if you're hitting your limits. But it is, and you have to purchase them in 10,000 increments.
Yeah, and Marketing Cloud is strictly based on addition. There are a la carte features, so really what you need to do is what should drive your decisions. It's not on the size of your database. Social
media, Pardot is really limited to just scheduled posting on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Marketing Cloud is all over that.
All over social.
They got everything, you can respond to it. Lead scoring, Pardot does scoring and grading out of the box. It's built into it. You can do customized scoring and customized grading. This is going to get you to the marketing qualified leads. You market to people. They get up to scoring. You say now a salesperson goes out and contacts them, and they can close. Their close cycle is a lot shorter because you've already warmed them up. So Pardot does this, but Marketing Cloud doesn't.
Not out of the box, but it is on the roadmap. Some Einstein dude's going to figure this out in the future.
Well, we already got Einstein going with Pardot, so.
Sick burn.
Operational transactional emails, those are the ones that you're required to send to people, and you don't have to include an unsubscribe. Pardot, you can get that. You have to sign an agreement, but it is something.
And we do not, and that is it for us.
Mobile marketing, and marketing app. Resources, we both have trail mixes. These will be links. There's Getting Started series that are awesome. And we don't have time for Q&A, but I know you raised your hand, so you can come up and talk to us afterwards.
Actually, you can talk to us in the lobby behind Simon,
that's right.
Who's about to throw a real sword at us.
Yes.
And that's our time. Thank you.
Thank you.